There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, everyone. That is the voice of your Yonko host, Dr. Jace Attorney. And we are back yet again for some Last of Us greatness. We're on episode 6 of the hit TV series, hit HBO TV series, The Last of Us. Back to Sundays, we were spoiled a little bit by having a brief little Friday window for a release with episode 5, but now we're back to the Sunday grind with episode 6. Definitely a lot happened in this episode, and it looked like it focused primarily on Joel and Ellie, exclusively on Joel and Ellie. I know the last couple of weeks we've kind of been dividing that time up with other characters, like Sam and Henry, Bill and Frank, just kind of spicing things up a bit so we don't get too exhausted with the main duo. But now, full episode, Joel and Ellie. But I'm not alone to deep dive this episode today. With me is fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop. Grandmaster, are you feeling the emotions of Joel and Ellie's relationship after seeing this episode?
I'm buying them. I buy it. I get it. Part of me wishes I get it from a story standpoint, but like when you jump 3 months, that's a good time skip.
Yeah, how did you feel about that? I mean, we might as well talk about it. Yeah, there's a 3-month time skip. I think that was in the game to kind of just jump ahead to have them catch up to wherever Tommy was or wherever they were going to meet the Fireflies. I don't remember. I think there was a time skip. But yeah, how did you feel about that? Just seeing that just plastered there, because I don't think this is our first time skip, right? This is our first one.
As far as the main story goes.
Well, the main story. Like, it hasn't said Joel and Ellie are here. Now fast forward 3 weeks or 3 months.
No, I think any time jumps have been within the story. Like, when we get the car with Bill, the car from Bill, we just assume they've been traveling. So they didn't even tell us how long it's been. But I think there's beauty in time jumps. Sometimes I think it takes away from some of the beauty. I get it. And I say this because when you get a time jump and we have to think about where we left them off before the time jump, we have to put the pieces together, So we leave off with, they just buried Henry and Sam. And now, jump ahead 3 months, we see their relationship is blossoming more. They're opening up with one another. Joel's talking about, I want a sheep farm.
No, that's right.
Ellie's expressing her love of space and how she loves Sally fucking Ride.
Do you know who Sally Ride is?
I sure don't. I only know the reference in the song.
Okay.
Ride, Sally, ride. Which now I get that it's a astronaut reference to Sally Kristen Ride from NASA. So, but I just so it's fun sometimes to put the pieces together of what has transpired. Obviously, I am sure Joel and Ellie have had kind of a conversation about Sam and Henry. Funny enough, we learned that they didn't even have that deep of a conversation because she just revealed something this episode to Joel that he didn't know. But does it take away from moments when we could have grown with them? It sure does, and that's kind of the the options you got to choose. It's like, do we grow with them and prolong the story somewhat, or do we just kind of pick up the pieces ourselves, leave it to the viewer to be, you know, the ambiguity left
Go ahead,
by
sound it out.
ambiguity left by
Ambiguity, is that what you're trying to say?
yes, left by the writers, you know. Do we just go ahead and formulate our own conclusions? So it's a give and take. I like both forms of storytelling, and I think it works here. So yeah, I'm fine. Goodness, I feel that was hard to get out. I'm fine with the time skip, and I am fine, and I think the relationship is looking good, which is great because it sets up perfectly the conflict of this episode.
Right. I mean, they pretty much transitioned into the new, I guess, arc, if you want to call it, of this episode, really, because it looks like we resolved it in this episode rather than focusing on 2 episodes for it. But the goal was to find Tommy. Where's Tommy? Where is he? We know he was in this direction. There was that brief little intro in the very beginning with the old couple, and they were kind of funny. I like that interaction that they were having.
They were funny. I agree.
So that was kind of silly. I like that. But yeah, they're hunting. They're pursuing Tommy. And for all Joel knows, you know, Tommy is dead. And you see these little snippets of, you know, they put Ellie in certain situations where and you kind of see it in the behind the scenes segment. Joel is really afraid for what may happen to Ellie. I think they get like ambushed like really quick once they cross that river, or once they see the dam, right? They see the dam first.
Yeah, but even before that, you know, he has a little anxiety attack.
Was it an anxiety attack? I don't know what he was having. I thought it was like maybe just old age stuff.
Well, I take it as a combination of both. He is old, and they keep highlighting that a lot. But also, as to what you're saying, he is worried and concerned for Ellie's safety. Like these guys, the native couple, they're like, you know, you go across that river, there's a bunch of dead bodies, you know? And he's like, well, I don't want that to happen to Ellie because, you know, I can't fail again. So I feel if I think it was a combination, because again, if it was just kind of old age, I don't like the hearing, you know, you could,
right.
Like she was like, Joel, and it was very much, it was emphasizing the heartbeat, you know? So I took that as he's just becoming more and more anxious for this girl's safety. So, but I get it. And then the right when they get ambushed, you know, this dog, which I thought the intensity of this scene was really good.
What, you thought one of them was gonna get mauled, or no, that Ellie was gonna get mauled?
Well, I'm over here questioning. I'm like, well, is technically Ellie infected? Because, you know, she's been bitten plenty. She's immune, so I guess she's not infected because she's immune. But I'm like, I'm over here thinking, oh, the dog probably still smell that, or something. And so I was nervous too. I was rightfully nervous just as much as Joel. And I get it. And he couldn't do anything in the moment. He was helpless.
Right. He was helpless. It's definitely something that they've touched on in, I know, the game, not so much the first game, but in expanded material that they've always like questioned, you know, what exactly is Ellie's immunity? Is she still technically infected? Is that stuff still in her bloodstream? Because again, you have that that scene with Tess early on in episode 1. Remember when they had the scanner, when they got free of that guard? And
it rang for Ellie, right?
Right, it rang for Ellie, and she had already been bitten, like, I think a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, technology seems to be able to pick it up that she is infected, air quotes, but apparently a dog that's trained to smell if someone's infected, it doesn't really ring for the dog.
I'd like to think the dog can, I don't know, it's picking up when they're active, if the infection is active.
Oh, but
Uh,
what the scanner's like a dormant thing?
the,
Like it
the
could be.
scanner's like they're in there, they're infected, but the dog is only reactive to active. Like, oh, this person's about to change, like tomorrow.
Maybe
Bark.
maybe they sense the body changes in them, like they smell it. You know
You
how
know,
like animals have that like third sense or whatever, or that sixth sense.
how do you train this dog to smell for infection? I don't know.
You just hold its head in front of a clicker, saying, "This is bad.
I
Bark at this."
I guess because I'm over here like I don't know how they taught this dog to do that, but again, I was fearing, and then they do a really good job of setting up these really scary scenes for Ellie, and then they turn into these very heartwarming little things. I don't know the last time Ellie's hung out with a dog, but
I don't
it
think
just
she ever
seems she's
has.
probably never. And then it's just like here she is giggling with this dog, and it was kind of a very sweet moment. So
It was pretty
very well
good.
done.
Very well done. I can confirm there was not a dog scene anywhere in the games where it's like, oh, is the dog gonna smell it? Is the dog gonna do it? Is it gonna sense the chakra in this person? No.
You gotta smell the catra.
But it was nice, a little bit, a new piece of like lore to like add to the intensity of the scene. So I liked it. But they pretty much figure out, right, that Ellie's not infected, and I think the leader of the bunch, Maria, she's like, "Who are you? What's your name?" And he,
God, what a terrible voice you just gave her. But
what?
sure.
I just gave her a random voice. Is it not suitable?
It was a little more subtler than.
Did you want me to give her like a thick country accent?
It was just. It's fine. It was
What's
just
your
very.
name?
It wasn't even like that. It was just a very subtle. I think she put two and two together. Like
That's Tommy's brother.
Well, the moment he says, "I'm looking for my brother," I think she's like, "Okay, this is probably Joel. This is the guy. This is my brother-in-law."
This is the random brother that my husband has been talking about all these years. He's just wandering out here in the wilderness. Are you Joel by chance?
I mean, again, maybe I'm over here thinking. I'm over here thinking. Tommy's told her, "My brother might be coming. Just be on the lookout. He's coming from Boston." I mean, Tommy made it there. I don't think it's so far out of the realm of possibility that
It's a long trip. 3 months.
it's a long trip. But Joel's very resourceful. Tommy's learned from Joel, so if Tommy can do it, Joel sure as hell can do it.
Right. So it was nice to see, he gets reunited with Tommy in this small little town, the city of Jackson,
Wyoming.
Jackson, Wyoming. How'd you feel seeing like a settlement that's like actually livable, like just a hint at a normal life? Because you're so used to like bandit camps or QZs, militarized groups.
I haven't seen any bandit camps yet.
Oh, I guess no. Well, okay, let me scratch bandit camps because I mixed it up with Kathleen's group that was
Kansas
supposed
City.
to be a bandit. Yeah, so no, you're right. But mostly we've seen like doom and gloom, like QZs and the
Right.
like. How's it like seeing like an actual settlement that has a taste of the OG life with like movies and like bars, food, like home cooked meals? There was pumpkin pie on that damn table when they were eating.
I don't even think she
They ain't
touched it.
serving that at all at a Fedra camp. They're not
Absolutely
serving
not.
that.
Well, again, I have this uncanny, tendency to compare it to The Walking Dead, and there's seasons in The Walking Dead.
Because that's your one comparison for a live action like
zombie
drama.
apocalypse. Right. And so, I say it's weird because simply when I made the comparison, I was like, damn, for some reason The Walking Dead seems less believable. Like there are seasons that feature communities that are quote unquote thriving. But then like, I don't know, part of me just feels like this is so much more realistic to me. And I don't know why. And I don't think I'm being biased because again, I watched The Walking Dead for years, but something about this just seemed more realistic.
What
And
what were some of the comparisons to like The Walking Dead, like for them having like livable settlements?
I mean, it's very much like this, a community. Everybody's playing their part. There be like people who are, who have jobs like the pharmacist, the guards on rotations, uh, just very similar. And then like houses, like people actually had houses they could be staying in. Like bring in new people, like, oh, we have this house on this corner, you can stay in there, you know.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe it's just like the vibe of the show itself is somewhat, again, I say it's very comic booky. But this one just feels more real. And dare I say, I really like the snowy setting, the winter setting. That really
Nice.
works for me for some reason. I don't know. This cowboy aesthetic makes perfect sense for me because it's Wyoming, and I feel, I don't know, that's where people go be ranch hands and get on horses,
Raise
and
sheep and
raise sheep and hogs. So can't wait till we get bacon. I just buy it. I really buy it. It like works for me. Movie nights, I guess.
yeah.
But like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I love the setting. I think the setting works really well. And then I get it too, as far as like their settlement has like all this space between, it's like open field, right?
Right.
Surrounding their settlement. And I'm like, wow, that's really great. You really can see who's coming up on you.
Yeah, there's like ample time for warning. Like if people are charging up, like you have snipers on the towers that are gonna take them out easy.
Right. So, I'm buying again. I'm buying every bit that's being shown to me here in The Last of Us. So, I'm here for Jackson, Wyoming, the communist Jackson, Wyoming.
What's how does Maria describe it? It's all collective. It's
A
all
collective, right? Mm-hmm.
That's
And
funny.
then everybody shares, and it's pretty equal. And Joel's like, communism, and Tommy's like, no,
It's not communism. What you mean, Joel?
no, it's a communism. We're a communism. We're a
I
community.
mean, it works. It works. Everyone
It
gets their
works.
share. There doesn't seem to be any kind of corruption or shady stuff going on in the background. Everyone gets their share. Everyone works their piece, and they have
council,
the council democratically elected.
right?
And yeah, they have leisure time. It's not just like a work camp. You could go see movies, go to the bar, just have a good time. I know at one point in the game, when you see this town, you could go inside one of the buildings, and it's funny because society in the game, society collapsed in 2013.
Right.
So technology, or in terms of entertainment, stopped at 2013. It didn't progress anywhere past that. So if you go into a building and you go into like a kid's room, here in this town, you could find like a PS3 with like the Jak and Daxter HD trilogy.
Oh goodness.
Off in a room somewhere. Obviously, because it's a little homage to Naughty Dog, who made the Jak and Daxter series on PS2. But yeah, it's just funny to see that. So I wonder, well, we're kind of already out of the town already, but I wonder if maybe there's like an Easter egg or two, like, since the world stopped moving in 2003, I don't know, maybe you saw like a kid with a Game Boy Advance somewhere. I like those little things because it shows you like, just because it's 2023 doesn't mean like the world progressed, past 2003. It stopped. They're just surviving right now.
I mean, I imagine we'll be back here. I don't think this is the last.
Oh, it's not the last.
The
of
last.
us.
Right.
The last they've seen of us.
Right. I imagine we'll be back for whatever reason. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll be down to explore more of Jackson, Wyoming, and I don't know, like to see how they handle the worst of their situation. But yeah. Joel and Ellie are very much welcomed right in, and then I guess from here we start peeling back more pieces of the puzzle. well, not puzzle, I guess it's a family drama now. It very much becomes a family drama.
Oh, the tea with Joel and Tommy, like what exactly happened between them?
Right. Wait, what did happen?
So basically, they hinted at Joel's past, where they needed to survive.
Right, they were
early on.
mercs.
And
It sounds like they were mercs,
I mean,
or just whatever. They killed and didn't have remorse.
that's basically what it was. That's how I understood it, and they kind of hinted at that even in the game too. They just kind of killed without remorse, but always for survival, like never out of like spite or
Not malicious. Yeah.
Right. It was always for survival. And you hear Joel say it in this episode too. He's basically reiterating, I did what I did, the things that I did so that we both could survive. And, Tommy kind of puts that into perspective, saying, I don't fault you for that, but those things that you're mentioning, we murdered people. Like we have to acknowledge that even though it was for survival, we still did those things.
Right.
So I did kind of like that back and forth where Tommy, I guess at some point he was just like, hey Joel, I can't do this anymore, I can't be living this life. So then he ventures off to join the Fireflies, and then after the Fireflies, I think either he had a falling out or he just disagreed or something happened where he ends up going with Maria, and then Maria recruits him, and they're very secretive of their settlement. So Tommy was not allowed to tell anyone.
All right, he turns off the radio.
He turned off the radio, so Joel loses all communication with him, and that's it. That goes all the way back to the first episode where he and Tess were trying to get a car and a battery so that they can go find Tommy. They're like, hey, Tommy's
his radio's off.
His radio's off. What's the deal? And I think it was like Tommy saying like, yeah, we couldn't invite anyone because we might attract bad people. And Joel's like, am I bad people? Am I bad people? In the most
Family
menacing
drama.
way.
Right.
But this is something, dude, that wasn't in the game. Tommy tells him, again, putting things into perspective, he is expecting a child with Maria.
Oh, this is not from the game.
Not in the game. No. Well, Maria is in the game, and they're married. Maria and Tommy, they're together. But Maria was never pregnant in the game.
Right.
So if since we're getting a season 2, I wonder if they're gonna have a kid, and we're gonna see the kid grow up or whatever. But that's something new. I feel like that's intentional, and they may touch on that. Like maybe there'll be like a small time jump to where the kid is old enough to like interact with the rest of them. But it's still kind of cool to see Tommy expecting a kid, and oh my god, the tension when what's it called, when he's like, I'm really afraid to be a dad, or I don't know what to expect. And I think Joel gives him like a cold response, like the coldest response. He's like, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see now, don't we? I don't know. It was something like that, right?
I just know this, like Joel is projecting
right
the whole time, having been a dad, and now he's a reluctant father. I guess it's hard for him to hear something like this because Tommy, you could tell, is kind of overjoyed. It's full of hope. He's excited, and Joe can't get past that. It's like Joel's very much like, you really want to bring a child into this world?
That's what I was kind of questioning too. Like, damn, that's kind of rough. Like, congrats, but
right. Oh my gosh, when
damn.
Ellie was like, Joel, tell him congrats. It was like that same moment.
When he said about like he was married to
right. Yeah, like
Maria.
During that moment, like congrats, Joel, say congrats. I can't remember if he even says it.
I don't think he does. I remember, yeah, she encouraged him to do it, and I don't think he actually did.
Right. So these interactions, I'm over here just thinking like, Joel's projecting. It's like no one can be happy, you know. At least there are parts of Joel that finds himself happy, and then he has to revert back and remember like he should not be happy. People should not be happy. This world is terrible. This world is dangerous.
He was asking, Tommy was asking about Tess, and he didn't even tell him the truth at first.
He's didn't even tell the truth at first, right?
She's all right. She's good. She's fine. So he was projecting. And Tommy kind of throws it back in his face. He's like, listen, man, just because your life stopped 20 years ago doesn't mean everyone else does. And oh my God, I don't even think they ever have that kind of interaction in the game, like that hostile. Like I think at first when they see each other, they're happy and it's kind of awkward because they're like, oh, we haven't seen each other in so long. But they didn't have like an altercation like this, from what I remember. This was like show original, and it really puts Joel's character into perspective, because it leads into the scene later that night when he meets with Tommy, and he comes forward after they both apologize for how they've been acting. Joel just comes clean and is like, this is why I brought the girl, and I am scared out of my mind for these these fatherly emotions that I'm developing with her, and I'm failing time and time again to protect her. This is something really neat that, again, the game doesn't touch on, because they acknowledge Joel is in his 50s, but he is a fit 50-year-old in the games. There was a joke in the behind the scenes where they said, yeah, we understand in the games that Joel, he like crouches down a lot, like he's always like crouching down to like hide behind cover, or, sneak around enemies and whatnot, and that's for gameplay purposes. And they said, we're not gonna have Joel in the show do that, because Pedro Pascal is playing a 50-plus-year-old man. These people got weak knees. They're not supposed to be crouching down like the way Joel does in the game. For the game, right, you need him to. Like we get it.
And he can't do it as frequent either. Like in the games, you could definitely not. Can't do that here.
Right, exactly. So I like that I think there was even a joke about it, like in the first episode, something about like, yeah, we can't crouch for too long. My knees are like old as hell. But it's funny because they bring it up again in this episode where he's acknowledging his age. He's fearful because he's deaf in one of his ears. He's almost deaf in one of his ears. He keeps sleeping and having these dreams. And he's like, I feel like I'm going to be the reason why this girl does not make it to the Fireflies, wherever we have to go. And I need you to take her. I need you to take her because I'm afraid.
Okay, so back to the dog scene. That scene, and I think they're doing a really good job as kind of this like, let's put Joel in similar situations and see what he does. You take it back to the first episode with Sarah. He freezes, and we're not infected. Doesn't do a thing in that moment. By Sarah. Sarah's gone. We get like
it was a callback to that.
So much.
Wow.
And then even at the end of the first episode, where that one guard stops them, and then Joel violently reacts and kind of, that's the man. This killing without remorse Joel. That's him, right?
Right.
And then you have the time spent with Ellie, and we have another similar standoff situation. And he freezes. He's telling Tommy that he couldn't move when that dog was starting sniffing Ellie, and he was afraid. Not only is he weak, and he's like, he admits to being, partially deaf. He's weak and he's afraid, and he can't stand the reason that, if he'd be the reason that Ellie does not survive.
Right.
It crushes him, man. Shout out to Pedro Pascal. This was some grade A acting. I'm like, this is why they got him to be Joel right here. Right here.
Oh, wait, you think it was this scene?
Or the scene was great. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a good amount of emotion right there.
It was pretty good. I liked it.
So I think again, this theme of, you know, he's finally admitting that Ellie is very much his daughter, more or less, you know.
Right. He's really starting to acknowledge, like, I think I'm seeing a little bit of Sarah in her.
Right. And then I mean, there's even that scene where he thinks he sees Sarah. He's actively thinking about Sarah again, you know.
Oh yeah, you see, like,
she had curls, and it looked like Sarah from behind.
Right.
And, you know, and again, he has a moment of he can't breathe, his heart's racing. And again, I think that only happens because of his relationship with Ellie. It's growing, it's developing, and it's becoming reflective and similar to Sarah. If he probably worked really hard to not ever feel like this again. And here Ellie goes, chipping away. Where's the heart? Where's the heart, Joel? Where's the heart?
I mean, he tries to find it a little bit when he goes and confronts Ellie on it. Because I think Ellie overheard the conversation between Joel and Tommy.
Yeah.
And they have this scene where Joel meets with Ellie and they have to have a talk about it because she does not want to just be handed off to the next person like cargo, as Joel put it so bluntly, like so many episodes ago. She's grown attached to Joel as well. The time jump pretty much established. If they were not close before with the Sam and Henry bit when it happened, 3 months after that, I'm pretty sure they're close enough. I'm pretty sure that they have to have like some father-daughter type of relationship at this point. And Ellie is just so conflicted at being pushed away here. And let me tell you, they did this scene justice in the game. I kid you not. I quoted every word that Pedro Pascal said, and it was like, oh, that's what he did. That's what he said in the game. And they even said in the behind the scenes, they're like, this is one of the best scenes in the game, and we didn't want to like change it too much, and we felt like we had to have it in here, like almost word for word. And like literally, it's where, you know, Ellie learns about Sarah through Maria, right?
Yep.
She didn't know about her before.
Yep.
And then
right. And I didn't put that together that she was unaware about Sarah.
Right.
Before.
You as an audience member, you know, but like you're like, oh wait, but who in the story knows about Sarah?
Right.
Because Joel was always protective of that. He was like, next question. He would always push it away. So, but yeah, this scene was just, as soon as Ellie said, "I'm not your daughter," immediately I knew exactly how Joel was going to respond. It's a little bit different in the game. I think the game does it a little bit more menacingly because Pedro was like, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go any further. It was good. It was really good. I think the game did it a little bit better because Joel in this scene, oh my god,
does he snap? Does he snap?
He doesn't snap. He has the same tone as like Pedro, but like there's a bit of menace to it where he's like, stop. You are treading on mighty thin ice right here. He tells that to Ellie. Like he's saying, you better watch your next word, what you say to me, because you brought up my daughter, and Ellie is on thin ice. She's bringing up stuff that Joel does not want to talk about, but she's hitting the bullet points that he needs to hear. But like by the end of the conversation, he's like, "You're right. You're not my daughter. And I'm sure as shit ain't your dad. So that's why tomorrow morning you're gonna be leaving with my brother so that you can go to University of Colorado and meet the Fireflies." It was just so good in the game. And I feel like this is probably the closest they could get. It's still good. Like, I'm not like faulting Pedro and Bella Ramsey's performance. I think even Bella, she was saying in the behind the scenes, like, this scene right here, like she got sleepless nights just trying to figure out, oh, how are we gonna do this scene? Because it's a big scene. It's huge. I think they did a fantastic job. I think the game did it a little bit better because you just see that tinge of anger from Joel, in the game in this particular scene.
I feel I mean, again, I don't have the game to go off of, but I really do buy Joel in this scene. It's as you said, tread lightly. Oh damn, you don't even know tread lightly because you're not there yet in Breaking Bad.
Oh my god, no, enough.
Tread lightly.
You're treading on some mighty thin ice here. Oh no, Joel does it better. I'm sorry, Joel.
But you know, what I really like about this exchange is simply that, you know, Ellie is right. Like, Joel very much
people too.
Right. I feel Joel very much lives in his own world where he's not really empathizing with a lot of people. It's kind of, you know, he's stuck in his ways, he's stuck in his mind. And, you know, it's tough to say, hey, Ellie, you don't know anything about loss. Like, Joel, man, that's a low blow, you know.
God, yeah, that's right. You don't have any idea what that is.
Right. She's not bringing up your daughter to hurt you. She's bringing up your daughter to show that you, hey, remember when you had compassion for people in relationships and bonds, you know?
Right.
How dare you so easily throw away mine? And she's trying to tell him. And again, see, Ellie very much is very observant. She's empathizing with Joel. With Joel in this moment, she's like, you know, I get it, Joel. I get it. You think of me as a daughter. You don't want to admit it. And I get it. I'm going to say it for you. Okay? I get it. We're similar. Don't fucking leave me because you wouldn't leave her. Remember that, Joel. Remember that. And then, you know, Joel's got to step away. He's got to step away, you know, and he's got to leave on that sour note of, you know, we're parting ways in the morning, you know.
Right.
So I very much like this exchange a lot. I'll probably go look up the game equivalent just so I can see what you're saying.
It's literally like 2.5 minutes of just like this exact scene. And you're gonna see the similarities like verbatim. Some words changed here and there. I think even the push that Ellie gives him, she's like, everyone that I've known has either died or left me except for you, and he pushes her. I was watching the scene again, literally does the same exact thing, the same push at the same moment, and I'm like, wow, y'all wanted to make sure you did this scene justice. But Ellie, like, you know, she's telling the truth. She's saying, don't pretend that handing me off to Tommy is gonna make me more safe, because it's just gonna make me even more scared. Because that's the truth.
I love that. I love that. That's a great line right there.
It's perfect. It is so good. And I'm telling you, it's been years since I played this game, but a scene like that, you don't forget. I remember that scene.
Let me just say, you know, I was very skeptical with Bella Ramsey in episode 1. I was not sold yet. And gradually she sells me more and more with each episode. Now I'm team Bella. I'm team Bella.
Oh, now you're team Bella.
I'm very much. She was getting me there every week, and then we got to here, and I'm like, I'm here for it. She's killing it. She's matching Pedro. It's not like he's carrying the scene. She is equally dishing it out. So yeah, right. I applaud her. I really do.
Again, it's a duo scene. They both characters have to deliver. And both Pedro and Bella, I feel like, delivered this scene. Again, memorable scene from the game. So they had to do it justice, bare minimum. So Joel practically leaves that night, and he's basically saying, yeah, you're gonna go with Tommy, like, no questions. Then he's kind of just there at the horse. He's like, I mean, I'll give you a choice. If you want to go with Tommy, you can. or you could go with me, but I'm telling you, as a fair warning, I'm kind of old. And Ellie doesn't care about any of that. She's
Hell
gonna choose
no.
Joel. She's gonna choose
Every
Joel.
time. Every
Yeah.
time. And I like, and again, I like that Joel came around and, you know, you deserve a choice. Because
Right.
I feel that wasn't given to Ellie before. You know, kind of the choice. It's like you're going across the country. You're going to this Firefly group. You don't got a choice in the matter. Being conscripted as a Fedra soldier, you don't got a choice. You know, you're here.
Right.
You're gonna be the next Fedra unit. You know, I think.
The next foot soldier.
I mean, essentially, and I think Joel recognizes, you know, that's not fair. That's not fair. She deserves a choice, and he doesn't have a right to take that from her. And treat her like cargo.
Ooh,
You know.
Wow. Oh man, I'm thinking about. Oh my God, no. Let me not say anymore. Let me not say anymore because it's about the future.
Okay. All right. Don't say it then.
Yeah, I won't say anything. But like literally, like what you're describing about the agency of like choice, that is very important. That is very important. It's it's gonna come full circle. It's gonna come full circle.
I shall wait on it. I will wait on it.
And you know, once they leave Jackson, these are nice moments. Like Joel and Ellie are actually like joking around, bonding.
He's leaning
getting
into
emotional.
it now. Now he's leaning it. The freaking sniper rifle training.
That was all compassion. That was not even necessary.
Absolutely. He's like, you gotta love the trigger. You gotta love it. He's like, it doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, she was getting frustrated. The scope doesn't work. It's the scope. The scope is non-functional.
But also, I think this is worth mentioning too. Even before we get to this point, him saying goodbye to Tommy this time around is him letting Tommy go. He's saying, you know, I don't need to be my brother's keeper right now. I mean, I will always be my brother's keeper, but my brother is capable. My brother, you know, is intelligent, and my brother is starting his life after years of Tommy being a follower. Tommy's finally, you know, grown to the point where he is now, where he can stand on his own. And Joel finally, I don't know if it took this long for Joel to recognize it, but Joel is now stepping away and he's committing to Ellie 100%. He's like, I'm committed to this girl.
And I love it because we still have a good chunk of content left to see Joel and Ellie's venture and see where it ends up. And I thought the episode was going to end here, in all honesty. I thought
it could have ended here and I would have been fine.
When they're on the horseback and they're walking into like the sunset or the sunrise, I'm like, okay, that's it. Credits are about to roll. No, they kept going. Which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. Yeah.
I think it ultimately leaves at like an interesting cliffhanger for an episode. But what? Basically, they get to Eastern University of Colorado, East Colorado University, whatever.
Right.
And
cool setting. I think it's a cool setting.
Very cool setting. This also matches the game. They did go to a university. I'm pretty sure it was the same one. And this is where the Fireflies were supposed to be. This is where they were supposed to meet them. But they're not there. Everything is abandoned and they got monkeys on the loose.
Freaking monkeys.
From the testing labs. So there's no Fireflies there. So it looks like, okay, so where is our journey going to take us now? Because this is where we were supposed to go to, have Ellie meet the Fireflies.
So that's where they're supposed to go. I thought they were always heading to California.
I'm pretty sure because they stopped into the university, so I thought this was where the Firefly facility was. I think Tommy said this is where they were.
Yes, Tommy was like, "There's a Firefly base, yeah, in Colorado, because they're in Wyoming." So
Right.
yes, no, Tommy pointed them in this direction. But I guess it's fine. If I was wrong, I was wrong. But yeah, they're not here.
They're not
Packed up
here.
their
At
things
least
and
they
left.
were there at some
They
point.
were, and then they left for whatever reason.
Right. Maybe it was those damn monkeys. Maybe they kept harassing the researchers. I don't know.
Maybe.
You get, and again, this is where I do not recall the exact sequence of events. I don't know if this is exactly how it happens. But Joel and Ellie are in the facility and they encounter some bandits, or I guess raiders. The subtitles call them raiders.
Raiders, yep.
And they're there to raid. They're there to raid Joel and Ellie. So they do that. Joel gets into an altercation with one of them. He ends up snapping his neck, and Joel gets stabbed. And it's a scene where it's in the heat of the moment. They have to get away. They get on the horse. They manage to escape the 3 remaining raiders that were just randomly raiding the local area, the local university, I guess.
Because why not?
Because why not? Why were there only 4 of them too? It was just, I don't know. That's why I'm saying, I don't remember this is how it, I'm pretty sure this is not how it happened in the game. Just 4 random raiders showing up out of nowhere. But either way, it ultimately leads to Joel, getting stabbed. And once they get far enough away, Joel collapses in the snow, and we get that closer where Ellie is just crying over Joel, saying oh my God, I can't do this without you. You need to stay alive.
Right.
Very, very touching. Very touching. At this part, at least, I can recall happening in the game. I don't remember if Joel was stabbed or if he was shot. I remember they were getting away from something, and I think Ellie didn't realize that Joel was injured, and then he's slumped over the horse, and then Joel just falls off, and Ellie's like, oh my God, whoa, what happened, Joel? And then the rest of the game takes place. So were you gonna say something earlier?
So it's what Joel had feared. Well, 2 things. Here he is, he got stabbed. Technically that's pretty close to failing again to protect her. Literally the thing he said he did not want to happen.
This wouldn't have happened to Tommy, young strapping Tommy.
Who knows, but it's what Joel said would happen. And then I like to point out Ellie's growth too. That gun never once leaves that man's her vision of that man, when he runs up on them, and then easily ready to shoot when they take off. They're growing. But yeah, now it's well, Ellie, everything Joel taught you, let's go. You're on deck.
This is it. You're on deck. I remember last week I was trying to piece together what arc was gonna happen next, because we still had episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9, and so that's 4 episodes. And I'm thinking oh man, I don't remember that many other arcs that happened in the game. This is a major arc that happens in the game. I completely forgot about it. Where Joel is out, right? He got stabbed, and it's Ellie's call to action. She has to be the one that's protecting the both of them. And let me tell you, I don't think we're going to get it next week, because they already show what the preview is for next week's episode. But my God, I already know the pacing of the next 3 episodes just based off of the preview for this week's. I'm sorry, the preview for next week. Because I don't think they're going to jump into, what's Ellie doing to take care of herself and Joel right away. Because it based on the preview, it's clear that they're going into a bit of a flashback,
I'm calling it now, misdirection. I think the flashbacks will be interwoven.
I don't know. Well, okay. The reason why I don't think they'll be interwoven is because what they showed in that episode preview was that is literally the DLC to Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, really?
There was a DLC expansion to Last of Us 1 where it was like a prequel story that told you how Ellie ended up the way she was right before she met Joel and Tess and Marlene. So you get to meet this character who looks very familiar. Who's that actress? The one that was with her in the preview.
That's Storm Reed.
Storm Reed. What is she in that movie in that trailer where the parents get kidnapped when they go on vacation? That's her.
Yes.
Okay.
I forget the name, but no, she's another HBO alum. She played I forget her character's name. She's in Euphoria. She's Rue's sister in Euphoria.
Yeah. I watched just one episode of season 1, so I remember Rue's sister.
Right, Gia. She's Gia in Euphoria.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Funny enough, she's been like popping lately. She was the voice of Emily in the season 2 finale of Louder and Prouder.
Which one was Emily?
Emily, the ancestor. In the Juneteenth
that was her.
episode.
Oh wow. Okay.
That was her. So again, I forgot she was in the cast, but upon seeing her, I'm like, damn, HBO likes reusing their people. I'm like, cool.
They're like Netflix, technically. I mean, Netflix does the same
actually,
thing.
yeah. Netflix is another one that reuses. I think about how Disney Channel reuses their people, but like HBO and Netflix are like up here. So like,
right.
Oh, Disney Channel, they want you for a movie. All right, you did your show, you did your movie, you're out.
Come on for Johnny Tsunami.
Literally. So, cool to see her. I like her as an actress too. Interested in her little story. I mean, Ellie said she lost everybody she's ever cared for.
Right.
Doesn't sound good for her.
I think this is one of the DLC that was like really praised back when it released in 2013. It's definitely going to be a sad one. So gear up for that. And then next week's the following week's episode, I know exactly how they're going to do this because this really sets the pace for what's left of the game. This is what I'm calling. They're going to tackle the DLC in episode 7, just the DLC. No back and forth between like, oh, what's Ellie doing? Is she stitching Joel's hole in his stomach? No, it's gonna be straight flashback, just focused on. You might get like a little bit of something of Ellie in the very beginning, but nothing more beyond that. It'll just be boom. They found a little hut somewhere, a cave. And flashback time, boom, because Ellie's alone in her thoughts. Now she has to think about the past. So they're going to do that in episode 7. Episode 8 is going to tackle just everything that Ellie has to do to survive with Joel and, whatever's going on. Because I'm telling you, that episode is going to get dark. If they keep everything that they kept from the game, it during this moment where Ellie has to kind of like take care of Joel, this segment is going to get into some dark territory. The series is dark in general, but
right,
some darker themes are going to be tackled in Ellie's little arc that she's going to get while taking care of Joel. Oh man, this will be the one where you no. Let me not say anymore.
You're hyping it up. You really are.
I thought this was a very powerful moment for this little. I can't believe I forgot this. That's the part that's getting me annoyed. How do I forget this? That Ellie had to take care of Joel briefly. So she's gonna have to do that, and then finally, that's episode 8. Episode 9 is gonna be the finale, and Antonio, Dr. Mondo can vouch for me. He already knows where this is gonna go for the ending. Like that entire episode 9 is gonna be just that sequence, and it fits. I'm telling you, I got all the episodes planned out from here.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but sure.
Watch. Mark my words. Next week when we talk
All right,
about
next
this.
week, episode 7. Sure.
Episode 7. So yeah, that's where we leave up on episode 6. What did you think, like, overall about the episode? Were you here for it? How would you rank it compared to the other ones? Are they kind of on par, or did this one really elevate you to a
I told you
higher
how I feel
state?
about that term ranking.
You
Uh,
can rank episodes. We
I
did
don't-
it for Game of Thrones.
I don't like to. I just
You can.
Again, it's a very continuous story. I mean, even Game of Thrones, like,
There were some episodes, some weeks for Game of Thrones where we were like, I'm not feeling this. This was kind of weak. This was
yeah, okay.
weak.
The difference between like Game of Thrones and I feel like this is that Game of Thrones, yes, is a serialized show, but like there's no clear cut defined ending. The Last of Us is very much, I need to get Ellie to point B, and here's everything in between. Game of Thrones is very much, let's see what's brewing. We don't know what's gonna happen next, you know. And again, I say this just simply because I look at this episode as just a so you know, I said episode 4 was a setup, which it was clearly for episode 5, which, you know, we've already picked apart whether or not it worked as it didn't work as a setup. It was not a good setup. I mean, Joel and Ellie storyline, good setup. Everything else, irrelevant. This episode very much for me serves as just as kind of like a check-in. We're 3 months fast forward, and it's like, let's throw a cog in the wrench of this relationship. You know, what does the introduction of Tommy do to this relationship? What does the introduction of this thriving, safe society do to this relationship? What is Joe reflecting on old age and whatnot? It's a very intimate episode, you know, which I appreciate the intimacy in this episode. I don't think you're going to see that a lot of times. If it's an action-packed episode, no. If it's a setup episode, no. Like, you know, this episode had setup, but it was resolved in this episode. They set up why this town works so well. It makes sense why Joel would want to leave her here, you know.
I'm looking at your background. If you move your head to the more to the left, right there, on your shoulder, I just keep looking at that 10-gallon hat. That just reminds me of Carl from The Walking Dead.
Oh God.
It just, I don't know. Carl.
So yeah, I try not to rank these episodes. I just look at, I mean, look, we could do a rank at the very end, but I just look at this episode as, this is a Joel Ellie centric episode. Let's fuck around with their relationship.
Let me ask this. Do you remember relatively well the first season of The Walking Dead?
I mean, it was like the shortest season of The Walking Dead, so
It was like what, 6 episodes?
6 or
5?
7 episodes, yeah.
We have about like 3 episodes left for The Last of Us. Did The Walking Dead season 1 invest you like at least 2/3 of the way into its first season the way The Last of Us is, or it's kind of hard to tell right now?
2 very different shows.
They both have zombies.
I know, but like,
Well, technically not zombies in The Last of Us. That's what
the Last
the
of
word
Us
was
is
banned on set. Did you know?
Oh, saying zombies?
Saying zombies was banned on set of The Last of Us because they wanted to emphasize these are not zombies. We're different. We're unique. They're infected.
All right, sure. The human body acting like a mindless eating machine. All right, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I was invested in The Walking Dead for different reasons. The Walking Dead was just kind of dumb fun, you know. Again, it's very comic booky, like Rick Grimes riding into Atlanta on a horse, turns a corner, and there's a horde of zombies. The horse gets eaten, and
What?
Yes, that's very much what happened. And then like Glenn, Stephen Yoon's character is like, "Hey, I see you under the tank. Come over here this way." And I don't know. I don't know.
It just
There's like
sounds silly. I don't know.
there's a lot of characters in The Walking Dead, so there's multiple storylines going on that you need to focus on. But everybody is tertiary to Joel and Ellie.
Okay.
For the world of The Walking Dead is going to hook people in. I think The Last of Us, they are hooking you with just characters, you know.
Okay.
That's what I feel is the biggest difference, is that they are nailing the character piece of this story. Not saying The Walking Dead couldn't and didn't do that ever in its time, but this one has to sell you, and it has to sell you really quickly, and it has to sell you with the idea of, okay, I know we have our central leads, but hey, here's a Bill and Frank episode. Hey, the first 20 minutes of this episode are dedicated to Henry and Sam, and they hook you with everybody. And
Pretty
everybody, yeah, it's crazy how they do it. So I think that's what really separates this from a show, another similar show like The Walking Dead.
It's okay to compare. It's okay.
No, you can make the comparison, but I appreciate The Walking Dead for when I did, for different reasons that I appreciate this show.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I honestly can't wait. I did not think they were gonna tackle the DLC in season 1, which doesn't make any sense. Like they would, because it's season 1. If you're gonna tackle it, you tackle it now. But I don't know why. It was just completely out of sight, out of mind. And then once I saw the preview, I'm like, oh, they're doing it. They're doing the Left Behind DLC.
It's simply, funny enough, that's the title of the episode.
Oh, it's called what? Episode 7 or
the next episode? Yeah, episode 7.
Oh my god! I'm telling you, it's just gonna be the DLC. If it's called Left Behind, it's literally
called Left Behind.
It's okay. They're only tackling the flashbacks. That's it.
Sure. And Neil wrote the episode, so
next
sounds like,
or this one.
Yeah, okay. Next week's. So it sounds very much like he wants this to go a certain way.
Yes. I can't wait. And you know what? There's probably gonna be controversy next week.
Ooh.
I won't say over what, but there's gonna be controversy. I already know.
All right, bring it on. Let's see.
But I would say that kind of wraps up our thoughts overall for episode 6 of The Last of Us. Again, another great episode, really homing in on Joel and Ellie's relationship. And it kind of comes to a boiling point. Sometimes you need to see this happen with certain characters to really have them tackle the issues that they have with one another. And you get really standout moments like Ellie, you're treading on very thin ice right here. Ah, God, that's the game. Damn it.
He says the thin ice bit in the game.
In the game, he says the thin ice bit. You're treading on really thin ice right now. Pedro does not say that. He says like don't say another word or whatever, which is fine. It sends the same message, but I don't know. I like the thin ice thing. It's like, Ellie, you better stop. You don't know what this man will do if you say Sarah's name again. So
he might lose it.
Definitely watch that scene after this.
Yeah, I will. I shall do that.
But overall, great episode regardless. I can't wait for next week's for them to tackle the Left Behind DLC. And then the week after, I imagine, is going to tackle some dark stuff. And then we got the finale the week after for episode 9. But let us know what you all think in the comments below about The Last of Us episode 6. Are you still here for Joel and Ellie's adventure? Did you like the city of Jackson? And did you like seeing how it's basically a functioning community that was basically a taste of the old world and how it used to be? It's very livable. Looks fair enough to most people. So let us know what you all think about the city of Jackson, and just where do you think the series is going to go from here forward. But with that, everyone, that's all that we have to say for tonight. Be sure to let us know what you think down below in the comments, wherever you're listening to us on, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at the Yonko Table. Give us a like, give us a shout out, and let us know what you think. But with that, everyone, I'm Dr. Jace Turney, fellow Yonko Grandmaster Hoop, signing off. Take care.